Dave, as you should be able to see, there's a little blank space here. What I've done is I've actually created a little space for us to work with. That's just a piece of paper on a table. Anyway, I'm going to be using things to represent different pieces that I'm talking about. For instance, we're just going to say this is you, and we're going to start there. In HTN, what we had was what we call a unilevel compensation plan. In the unilevel, you had people who were brought into the company by you and who, for the most part, just fell directly below you. So you had these people that would come in and join. They were all part of your organization, but they were spread out across a row. Now, if they brought anyone in, those people would be direct to them. So you had a lot of people coming in. You know, we had different levels. And all I'm doing is I'm just showing you a graphic representation of how that organization looked. Now, in reality, I think that your group specifically was, I think we had Mr. Wayne Bergman, and I believe you had a Miss Susan Cole and a Miss Ann Betchel. So this was your front line. Now, a majority of the growth that I saw, at least in the position that you had directly under Wayne, I believe was under Wayne Bergman. And you had Gail Nowicki, and then under her, she had a Mr. Jerry Evanson. But you know, this is the HTN structure. Now, the HTN structure, because it was a unilevel, has percentages assigned to each level. So here, the first level, if you remember, that was about 10%. So anything they bought, you got 10% of. And then the people below were 5%, assuming that you were a regional distributor and spending at least $90, you'd get 10% plus 5%. And then if you reach that regional, you'd also wind up getting 5% on your third level. So all I'm showing you here is the basic structure that we had in HTN. Now, in Zuma changes a little bit. Obviously, we still have you in Zuma. Zuma is sort of a marriage of two systems. The first is called the unilevel that we went over, that's HTN. And then the binary, which is actually what Zuma is structured as a binary. So you just have two sides. It's very similar to what you did, but before, where you could have any combination of people in your front row. Now, you're just going to be left with two people at the very front. Now, in your case, for the dual team plan, what we see is that we have you at the very top of the tree. On one side, we have Miss Jackie, and then on the other side, I believe we have Lynn Seaton. Okay? And then the groups grow from there. So I'm going to put a few people in. Now, Miss Jackie's got the biggest group because that's where a lot of people signed up and joined under. And this was just by virtue of some of your sponsor. So I don't think it was Wayne, but I think it was some people above Wayne that were putting people in the system that were all falling in a nice line under you because you represent part of their organization too, and they were helping you fill out. Now, on the other side, I believe we have Miss Lynn, and under Miss Lynn, according to what I saw, I believe that we just have Mr. Fred Snyder. Okay? So this is kind of the basic idea of your structure in Zuma. Now, what happens in Zuma? What is a binary? How is a binary really that different from a unilevel? Well, one way is that a binary pays out weekly. The way that we calculate weekly volume is we say it doesn't matter what level they're on, we just care if they're on your left or your right. Now, what we need for us to pay you up here, is we need to have $160 in volume from this side and $160 in volume from that side. So once this side hits at least 160 and that side hits at least 160, then you are paid 10% of that in what we call a cycle. if you want to think about it, a cycle is a trigger that tells the system when to pay you money. So we know that once we have $160 on your left and $160 on your right, we can pay out money. Now the amount that pays out is dependent on how much you buy. So in our dual team prosperity plan, under just the binary, which is something that everybody in the company participates in, you'll get 10% of 160, which is $16 back. Now remember, each week you're not going to have a clean 160 on both sides. What you might have is 320 on one side and 160 on the other. Well, that means that you have at least 160 here and at least 160 here. We'll pay that, and we'll leave you with 160 on this side to build against for the next week. And your volume keeps carrying forward. These all pay you. Now, there's a few things to consider when you look at the binary. For instance, you have to realize that you're really getting paid on your lesser volume leg. So this side's a little bit weaker, but it's the one that dictates when you can hit the trigger on the volume on this side. Because if you have $500 in volume here, but zero over here, you're not going to get paid anything until you have at least 160 from your other side. The reason that we did this is basically to sort of encourage team building. What we need to see is an organization that's balanced on the left and the right, so that both sides can generate volume for you and pay you back. But the wonderful thing about a binary is that however deep it goes, it doesn't matter. It only matters whether you have someone on the right and left side. So if 160 on this side, 20 levels deep, is the same as 160 2 levels deep on this side. So it's just a question of running volume through your organization. I hope this helps you understand a little bit better about what we mean when we talk about the binary compensation. Now, if you want to learn more about this particular income stream is actually called the team commissions. So all you have to do is go visit the website and you can pull up the team commissions. I'll make sure I send you a copy of the actual compensation plan so you can take a look at it one by one.